telehealth, it's completely changed how patient care is working. It was only a few years back before COVID when you had to go to your doctor to get something you can inject yourself with. People are now doing that at home. What is my marketing funnel to acquire these customers? Before you go to market, what is your unique selling point? How are you different? The time to get into the telehealth space is still now because the market share is increasing. I don't think pineapple should go on pizza, to be honest.
How would you get them to 500K a month? What would a 90-day scaling plan look like?
We know the market's going to come to this $1 trillion point. There's still space. Like, this is just the beginning.
Today, we are chatting with Harsh, the founder and CEO of Rovea Health and Revere. Over the last decade, Harsh has led projects and teams and startups all the way up to Fortune 500 companies like Tesla and Meta. Harsh has built agencies, communities, and advisory programs that have helped brands generate millions in revenue, optimize customer acquisition, and scale user growth. Now, he helps health and tech companies scale through performance-driven growth systems with a focus on telehealth, supplements, and tech. Harsh, to start us off, can you tell us a bit about yourself, if there's anything I missed, and what Rovea does?
I think you covered it quite well, Michelle. But yes, my background's in engineering, went from startups to companies like Tesla and Meta. And now we have this agency called Rovea Health. We work with telehealth brands, pharma brands, CPG, supplement brands, and provide them with growth marketing solutions.
So let's just backtrack for a second. What exactly is telehealth?
The way I look at telehealth, Michelle, is essentially patient care done digitally. So before you had to go talk to a doctor, you had to first get the appointment to talk to the doctor. Then you had to go to the office, get your prescription, go to the pharmacy, get your medication, pick it up in 2 to 3 days. Now it's all just done digitally. So from your home, you can actually order pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, way more convenient. Yeah. Way more convenient. So what are some of the brands that we've worked with and were successful, and what made them successful?
We've worked with a few different types of brands, like in the sexual health space, in the weight loss space, hair loss space as well. I think a few notable ones are like Blue Chew. We had crushed it for them. There are some weight loss companies we're crushing it for as well. But the space is just expanding more and more, even towards mental health. So this whole space of telehealth is at about $300 billion. $300 billion, and it's growing by 20% every year. So we're going to hit 1 trillion very soon. So it's growing every single year by 20 to 25%.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And when you first looked at some of the brands we've worked with, what was the biggest thing or things that you saw right away that were broken and were the, if you can even say, like the biggest growth levers to get them unblocked?
You know, every brand that comes to us, like I've had conversations with companies interested in our marketing support, but all of them come to us with different like problems. Like some of them have landing page issues. Some want to acquire market share immediately and they're willing to pay for that. Some people don't even have a funnel set up actually. Like they just don't even have like, hey, once someone comes to the website, what are they going to do after? Some people are doing that through WhatsApp. So every single person that's coming to us is just different and they have their unique problems. But something in common I've seen is like landing pages and just conversion rate optimization. I think if you can crack the code there, your brand is going to be successful because the fastest way to grow in the space is paid acquisition. There's other channels to approach as well. But if you can get your conversion rates up, you're going to be able to compete with other companies that are in the telehealth space as well.
Right. And that kind of leads me to my next question of what would you say is what separates the telehealth brands that can scale to 500K or more a month versus the ones that don't?
That's a good question. I think speed. Like one thing I had picked up from Meta, Mark Zuckerberg said this. He's like, move fast and break things. Like that was the core principle. They would have this on the wall. They had 5 or 6 different values, but that one stuck out to me quite a bit. And it's interesting being able to see and having worked with hundreds of companies now, from seed to Series A, all the way to these Fortune 500 companies. Speed is still very critical. So when a founder is coming to us, funny enough, even on calls, I ask them, I'm like, hey, if we told you that your landing page needs to change, or your website needs to change, your funnel needs to change, how long would it take you to change that? They could hire us to do it, or if they were to do it themselves. And for me, I'm getting a sense of how fast is the founder willing to move? We don't want to be in a situation where a landing page is needed, where they need a landing page, and that's taking them 4, 5, 6 weeks. We want to be there, landing page needed. We can help out. They can do it themselves. We need that landing page updated immediately. So that's just one example. So speed is critical here. And from working with hundreds of founders now, the people that are crushing it now are the ones that operate with speed. So it's quickly being able to change the strategy, the subscription pricing, the funnel, the intake forms, whatever it is. Whoever can do it faster is going to be the one that's crushing. And that's actually happening in the telehealth space now too. Because if you look at companies, like the market is so large and it's just growing from now. It's going to be $1 trillion in a few years. There's folks in the US trying to get peptides approved, like 14 different peptides, I believe. I was reading this like 2-3 weeks ago. There's 14 peptides that will likely get FDA approval. So who's going to be the one that's able to launch those out with speed immediately?
Right.
So anybody that's focusing on speed is going to crush. And that's not even just telehealth. That's across any business or a founder themselves, because we also have a tech branch and we see the same thing there.
Totally.
Right? You could have a great product, but are you going to adapt to the features, the marketing of it, your landing pages, whatever it might be?
Right. And then in terms of when we're working with clients, we're relying on them for decisions as well, right? So would you say it like speed in decisions? So we as a team can move forward.
That happens quite a bit. Like right now we have a client that we've told, hey, we need to add a welcome kit to your offer, and that's going to crush. And we know it's going to crush because we need to bump up AOV for them. And they're still, it's been 2 weeks now, and I'm actually jumping in and messaging them. I'm like, hey, these are a couple ideas for welcome kit. Can we get movement on this? And you know what? Before you actually go and build out the physical products that are needed for the welcome kit, can we do an offer test on our side to see if that welcome kit will perform? So that's the direction we're leaning into now from a marketing perspective. But yeah, speed is super important, Michelle.
Speed is king. Okay, so we got the lay of the land. We kind of know what telehealth is. There's some different niches within it. And even if like everyone's heard of GLP-1s now and supplements, and this is a great time to be in this market. Let's get a little technical now. Can you talk to us a bit about what the typical CAC or cost to acquire a customer is in telehealth, and does it vary depending on which niche you are in?
100%. Even in weight loss itself, just that niche, it varies. We've seen CAC, and just to mention, guys, like this is from a paid acquisition perspective, so paid advertising, but we've seen CAC vary from like $40, sometimes upwards of $600. We actually had a client come to us spending $1 million a month at a $600 CAC, which we brought down to $275. And you can see the immediate impact of that for the client. But zooming out a little bit, the sexual health space is different. Mental health space is different. GLP, aka weight loss space, is different. Other peptides that are going to be offered in the market, there's going to be a different CAC there. And if you look at the telehealth space, the most important thing is your economics. Let's use GLP for an example. Let's say you're acquiring somebody at like $300, let's just say. What really matters is what is the LTV of that customer. It could be anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500, $3,000. It's all just business economics, right? You're paying a certain acquisition cost to acquire a customer, and how long are they going to retain for? So yeah, to answer your question, CAC just varies depending on space. We've hit CACs as low as like $13 for some of our campaigns in some of the spaces. So it's all just different. But one thing to keep in mind is with market competition, CAC will increase from an advertising perspective and just generally speaking as well, because there's going to be other players in the market that are offering the same product that are willing to pay more. Now, having said that, we know the market's going to come to this $1 trillion point. There's still space. Like genuinely, this is just the beginning. It was only a few years back before COVID when you had to go to your doctor to get something you can inject yourself with. People are now doing that at home and getting that product in like 2 days.
So would you say, depending on the projected lifetime value of your customer, or maybe even the pricing of your product or service, will you see that CAC adjusting at all?
Your CAC will usually stay the same if you find that sweet spot. What will adjust are those campaigns that you're launching and the creatives that you're launching, specifically in the paid ad space. Now, someone might have a different acquisition strategy. I actually had someone come to me and tell me that they were acquiring customers through flyers. Like they would go and put flyers outside and get clients for their business that way. And I'm like, that is not scalable at all. Now, that's just a little funny joke here, but there's other ways to acquire customers too, like affiliate marketing. You could have influencers, but those just cause little spikes in momentum. Let's say you give your product off to an influencer to promote. It's going to cause a little bit of a spike, and that's it. What are you going to do after that? So you have to find that sort of scalable engine. So that you can scale your company, not just have these little pockets of growth and hope for the best.
That makes sense. And we'll get into this later, but like designing the entire funnel from start to finish is something clients need to be and businesses need to be thinking about.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Right. Okay. So let's shift gears a bit to the compliance part of it, because we know that's huge in the healthcare space. Like I think that's every business owner's worst nightmare, getting shut down. Can you give us some tips on how we can run aggressive ads in a highly regulated space without getting banned?
So I want to mention this before I start talking about this subject and even this whole episode. Like we're speaking from a marketing perspective. I'm speaking from a marketing perspective. Obviously, check in with your legal team. We're not like the compliance lawyers here.
Disclaimer here.
Just a disclaimer so everybody knows, to be honest. So, yeah, in terms of compliance, I'll start with this. Like we've had companies come to us showing interest in working with us because their ad accounts have been shut down. And their ad accounts were shut down for 2 months and they were spending $500K a month. So that's $1 million that they literally couldn't advertise with on Meta. And think about the model that we have for telehealth, right? You're paying a certain amount of money to acquire these customers. You want them to stick with you for as long as possible. So this is just a game of new clients, new patients, I should say, coming in, balanced out with churn. There will be churn. There will be people that use your product in the telehealth space for a month, 2 months, 3 months, and they're like, you know what? I have what I need. I'm now going to move on to something else. So the reason I'm saying that is if you're acquiring and you're spending $500-600K a month and that just gets shut off all of a sudden, now you're just waiting till all those people churn out and you don't have net new customers joining in. So a couple things, I mean, every telehealth company should be doing is legit script verification. That's 100% needed.
And what exactly is that?
That's a certification you can get from Legit Script where they audit your business and they audit your websites and they audit what you're selling. So you can provide that verification to ad platforms like Meta, like Google, to showcase that you're trusted by Legit Script. I believe they also look at payments as well, like how you're taking payments. So they do a full audit for you and you have to pay like a fee. And if you want to get accelerated with that, you have to pay additional fee. And then every year you have to pay for this Legit Script verification. But you need that in order to run ads in the telehealth space. In order to do anything in the telehealth space, you're going to need legit script verification. Yeah.
And is there any other kind of system that brands should have in place, like weekly or monthly, to protect their ad accounts? Because it sounds like a huge risk.
Yeah, I've also met some founders that had their ad accounts shut down even with legit script. This might happen. You just got to make sure you are compliant with the creatives and the copy and what you're saying. So again, like I said, we're not on the compliance side. We're not lawyers, but Hims and Hers just went through a data breach, actually, which opens up the market to even more players to show up. But for them, this wasn't necessarily compliance from an advertising perspective, but it was more patients' data. I don't know about this. Go take a look online what actually happened, but their data might have been exposed. So what does that mean for the market? That means like people might have lost trust in Hims and Hers, which opens up other entities to start. But yeah, coming back to the compliance side, make sure your ad accounts are set up, they're verified, you have legit script certification. Be mindful of the ads you're launching as well, right? Specifically around benefits and everything else that you're showcasing. And try to build as much trust with the advertising platform as well. You know what? A lot of times companies come to us and they're like, hey, we want to go launch off at $2 million a month. And we're like, hey, there's daily spend limits on your ad account because you haven't built that trust. There's ways around that to navigate around that. But yeah, build that trust with the advertising channels and then from there start to scale up and continue doing that. You also want to have backup accounts set up in place in case that happens, because you don't want to be in that position where a company is spending, they were able to ramp up to $500,000-600K a month. And now they're sitting there 2 months in, they're like, we can't acquire new customers.
Would you say that's something most clients generally even consider, like their relationship with the ad account, whether that's like say Meta? Because that's essentially what it is, right?
Yes. And if you look at the back end for Meta, I'm not saying anything, having worked, I'm not saying anything that's not publicly out there, but they have like something called HIVA, HIVA compliance. So for each, I don't know what it stands for, but for each ad account, they're looking at, hey, have you made payments on time? If you were delayed, what happened? How many ads actually went through that they got rejected? So they're looking at all of these things to build almost like this health score for your account.
Right.
And then they classify your account as like tier 0, 1, 2, 3. That's just high level. And then they actually zoom into that account too. And once you're at a point, there's no AI that's looking into your ad creatives. There might be a human actually taking a look as well to make sure like, hey, this is compliant. Let me put it through. Because in the Meta space specifically, they might reject ads because it's the AI doing it.
Right.
Which will hurt your ad account.
Right.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, you do kind of have to appeal to the bots.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I would say play it safer. And again, like this is, we're just chatting about speed. So you want to be speed to market. You want to get customers immediately and patience.
But this is where it's worth slowing down and making sure you have all your T's and dotting your I's.
Exactly. Because what happens a lot of times, the space is so new, people will just start building their own ad creatives and putting it out there without knowing what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right. And then from our perspective, we're the ones that put ads out there with client approval. So we get to see the back end of, hey, what ads work, what ads don't work, what are more likely to get approved, rejected.
Right.
So we're going to put out healthier ads, maybe a little bit softer.
Yeah.
And make sure you're building that trust with the ad platform.
Yeah, that makes sense. What would you say are the top 3 compliance mistakes that telehealth brands make?
I think benefits is a big one. I know FDA is definitely looking and zooming into the telehealth space around, hey, what are you actually claiming your product does? So that's a big one. And regardless if that's on the ad creative itself or on your website, that's going to be a blocker for you down the road. Again, check in with your legal team to make sure you know what to put on the ad creatives and also on your website, more importantly. I think just recently FDA had come after like 30 of the largest players around how they were marketing and what they were claiming, such as FDA approved versus this is compounded by a FDA approved pharmacy. And then for people that are in the space for telehealth, you could say there's like 503As, 503Bs. So it gets quite complex. But yeah, I would definitely make sure benefits and your claims are in check. Legit script verification, I don't know. Some people get away without it when they're just starting their ad accounts off, but you're going to run into an issue.
Right.
You're not going to be able to scale. If you want to make a couple bucks, sure, do whatever you want. But if you really want to scale your business, which everyone really wants to do, legit script verification. And then I'd say third point, just overall like risk mitigation, I should say. It's not necessarily compliance, but just being aware of, hey, if something does happen, can I shift from Meta to a different platform? Do I have that open?
Yeah.
So like a de-risking strategy just in case something happens from the compliance side.
Yeah, that makes sense. Always have a plan B.
There's so much competition in the space. You have to figure out an offer and a strategy that really works for your telehealth company. You're taking data from somebody and you're offering them different solutions. If you're not doing email SMS, you're leaving money on the table.